So we know that the brain is the largest human sex organ. It handles every aspect of sexual pleasure, every aspect of sexuality. And so, what we know is that the human brain, especially the male brain, has two pleasure centers. Okay, one is what I would call the satisfaction center. That's the dominant center, the one that brings you great consummation and great joy and fulfillment when you're having sex with your wife in a marital relationship. Okay. Then there's also the appetitive pleasure center, which is more based upon excitement and intensity. All right. And that's the lesser of the two and is meant to be the lesser of the two. It's certainly there in order to help men and women get excited and think about sex. But the pleasure center that's to be dominant is the one that draws you together, not just body to body, but soul to soul. Okay, so here's what happens with pornography. Um, the pornography comes in heavily, and that releases a heavy wash of dopamine, which is a chemical that's inside your body already, but it releases that to have its impact upon your brain. And the thing about dopamine is it helps to rewire the neural pathways of your brain. So, as I said earlier, your sexual pleasure normally runs towards that satisfaction pleasure center. What it begins to do is that because pornography is so based upon um, intensity and moving to the next image and getting the next intense little high, what begins to happen is that the brain rewires and your sexuality begins to be more focused upon that instead. All right. And what happens is your tastes change. The things that you find appealing has changed because you're looking at these other things online. And as you watch them and have that wash of dopamine, the dopamine locks those new pathways in. And pretty soon, your sexuality is all tied towards intensity and excitement as opposed to connection and satisfaction. And so what begins to happen is you're not so interested in how, whether you can bring your wife to pleasure. You're more interested in how intense your pleasure is. And that's just the smallest part of it. The other part of it is you never really make soul to soul connection. It's if you're really into porn, it's almost impossible to have sex with your wife without thinking about other women while you're on top of her. It's almost impossible because so many images are flowing through your mind as you're having sex. And you're so used to moving from site to site and image to image when you're looking at streaming porn that your mind does that while you're having sex with your wife. And, I've had wives tell me, I can tell he's not really in tune with me when we're in bed. I can tell he's thinking about something else. I can tell we're not really connecting. And you see, that goes to the opposite of what sex is supposed to do. Sex is supposed to bring us to, and when you look at the chemistry of sex, it's supposed to bring two people together as one. Even things like oxytocin, the bonding hormone, that at the point of orgasm is released, that's supposed to bond you together. It's what happens over time, we found, is that the more sexual partners you have, the less that works. Well, if you're in the harems of cyberspace all the time, you're having partner after partner after partner, thousands of them even. And a lot of the things that are built into sexuality to tie us together and to make us one as couples doesn't really work very well anymore. And so, and once you have those pathways aimed at the wrong pleasure centers, you're not even concerned about whether or not you're connecting soul to soul. So it's very difficult. It's a very difficult time in human history right now as streaming porn not just covers the United States, but covers the earth. And kids that are 6, 7, 8, 9, they're looking at porn. they're seeing their classmates more as sex objects than they're seeing them as, you know, fellow human beings or fellow heirs to the kingdom of Christ. Students, female students in school are begging their teachers to get the boys to quit telling these sexual statements to them, and trying to well, it's just obvious that they're seeing them as sex objects. So I'm not going to get into that today, some of the details. I am going to do that in a podcast coming up. But the big thing is that we have altered our sexuality as human beings to move away from using it as something to connect with into something that's designed to be intense and exciting as kind of an entertainment. And we've lost a great deal because of that.